You have to love the names of this game. A Freiluf.
Freylov. Yeah, there are some nice names.
And then
There's a lot of...
Beckhoff.
Lindsay Lemonster is my favorite name.
It is a very fun name.
Yeah. Do you know if like the geographic places in this game exist in other Final Fantasy games?
No, generally Final Fantasy games take place in completely different worlds. As I
Okay,
have a couple
okay,
specific examples.
I see. So they basically just use similar kind of
Yeah, they
gameplay
use a lot of the
and
same tropes and like
like
magic
races and
systems or
stuff.
world build. Yeah, magic systems, races, all that is pretty much the same.
I see, I see.
But the worlds themselves are very different. Oh, they're
Gotcha.
always airships.
Oh, nice.
And Sid.
Nice.
Those two things usually
Oh,
have something to do with each other.
is Sid kind of like Zelda
More or less.
or
It's just in every single game in the series.
and not necessarily the same person
No,
or is
he's
he
never the
still the
same
same person?
person.
Gotcha. So he is like Zelda in that regard as well.
Yeah.
I see. Oh, I forgot. So I'm currently doing the boss of whoops. What's going on? I'm doing the boss of this dungeon.
Yeah, Ethan's exactly right. It is a multiverse. Oh, there are
Oh,
crossovers
okay.
like the City of Final Fantasy, which is the Final Fantasy fighting game. Which, knowing Ethan, I have to imagine is his favorite Final Fantasy game
Oh.
because it's a fighting game. This seems like a very Ethan thing.
It does. It does. At least if it's a well-made fighting game. I
I mean,
guess
that's
that
true,
would be
but
the
there have been
best side.
multiple, so they sold pretty well.
Oh, I see.
I've never played the City myself.
Huh. Oh, that's rad.
I'm sorry, I have 2 seconds left before I can sprint again.
Oh yeah. I really wish they didn't like limit your sprinting ability that much.
Okay, 15 is pretty damn good, so I won't fight you.
I'm gonna give a player commendation to the tank of this party. Good team, good team.
Admittedly, I've heard a lot about 10, but I don't really know a lot about 10, so I can't say much there.
Hmm. And I have never played a single Final Fantasy game besides this one.
Which you totally should. Although, Petter, if you
I
do, I have to warn you, there is a lot of story.
uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, it's not like I don't like story in video games. I don't know.
Wait, is 10 the one with ha 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 ha? That one? You know what I'm talking about. It's like the most awkward laughing scene of all time.
Huh. Hmm.
It's also got a bunch of the Kingdom Hearts Final Fantasy characters in it.
Oh, interesting. I have never played a single Kingdom Hearts game either.
You disappoint me on many levels, Petter. I hope you know this.
But I have been to a Kingdom Hearts concert.
Okay, yeah, I know
Does that
exactly
make
what
up
you're
for it?
talking about then. Yeah, actually, I was
Start
originally going to
laughing
be
so
going to
many
the Final
times.
Fantasy concert last year. Like before COVID hit, I was talking with Steven about getting down to Chicago over the summer to do that.
Oh, really? Oh
Yeah,
man, I'm so. Oh, that's a shame you didn't get to go.
yeah, I really wanted to because
Such
the
a
music
shame.
in Final Fantasy is top tier.
Yes, I agree. Like, I don't know anything about well, oh yeah, Final Fantasy. But Kingdom Hearts, like I don't know anything about the games really, but as I said, I went to concerts in the summer of 2019. Just, listening to the music orchestrated
Hmm.
without knowing really anything about it in advance or afterward either. But yeah, the music was amazing. It was a great musical experience
That is,
for sure.
yeah, that pathway's above me.
Okay. I did finish the dungeon. Lovely. And I have been at it and on Discord somewhere. Huh.
Oh,
Oh, our friend Spiritual Mask Salesman is wondering which version of Full Metal Alchemist he should watch. Definitely Brotherhood.
yeah,
Hands
yeah,
down.
that's not really a question.
Yeah.
Like, watch Alchemist if you really liked Brotherhood and just want to see like a better version of the first couple episodes. But
Basically. Although even then I think like yeah, the first couple episodes in the first one are probably better in a way. I I think there's both pros and cons with the first couple episodes comparing the two because
yeah,
um
like neither of them is
obviously
perfect.
they spend more time on it in the like they go slower in the first one, which is good because that makes actually am I allowed to talk about spoilers for that
That'd be.
here?
I mean, it's only spoilers for the first couple episodes, so I don't mind.
Yeah. Well, Nina Tucker.
Yeah, yeah. I think everyone knows that, even if they haven't seen the show.
Nina Tucker and Mace Hughes
Hmm.
are two characters that meet some pretty nasty ends in
That is
the
certainly
early
one way to
parts of the
put it.
story. Yeah. And both of those characters, obviously, they like you get to spend a little bit more time with each of those characters before they meet those ends.
Hmm.
So it makes it more impactful when it happens in the first version. Um, so that's definitely something I kind of wish they had done with Brotherhood. Um, but at the same time, I like the fast pace in the early episodes of Brotherhood. It makes it so the story gets going and like kind of gets rolling faster. Um, because even though I do appreciate the time they took with the early parts of the first one, I do sometimes feel like maybe it drags on a bit too much. Although I don't know, it really is pros and cons, give and take. Uh, that
Yeah.
said, Brotherhood is vastly superior.
Oh yeah, just like as a show, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. Not only is it just a better show overall, it's also the actual vision of the original
Hmm.
creator of the story. So
Yeah, I guess they started
that
making Alchemist
that
way too early because they didn't really have the full thing at that point.
yeah, they really did. And instead of like waiting for new manga chapters to come out, they just did their own thing out of it, which turned into
Yeah,
something really strange and completely different from what it should have become.
yeah,
uh,
yeah. Just generally, anyone, if you want to watch Full Metal, watch Brotherhood. That's not a
Absolutely,
question.
like
It is a
really
statement.
not. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I really need to play more Final Fantasy. Because the only one I've actually finished
Any specific?
is the Game Boy Advance remake.
I see. Is there any specific ones out of the others that you're like more interested in?
I really want to play 12. I've heard great things about 12.
I see. I see. What do you know about 12? Anything you can tell me? Or...
Nothing I can tell you.
Is Sid in it?
Yes, Sid is in the game.
Sweet.
Actually, Sid wasn't in the first Final Fantasy. There's only a character in the backstory who was named Sid.
Oh, really? Huh?
Yeah.
Hmm.
At least I think. I don't remember actual Sid showing up. I just remember him being mentioned.
Well, at least he's mentioned.
Honestly, like, the first game was really good. Like, if you get a remake of it, it's still solid if you like RPGs.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm partway through 2. I'm partway through 7. But I haven't really beaten either of them.
6 and 7 are the ones I think I've heard the most about overall.
Yeah, probably. And I mean Japanese
they are
too, not
fan
American
favorites.
too. For anyone asking.
Ah. Man, that's confusing.
Yeah, Petter, for your reference, Final Fantasy 1 came out in both the US and Japan. But 2 and 3 only came out in Japan. I guess they came out in other regions too. But so when Final Fantasy 4 came out and they localized it for the West again, they called it Final Fantasy 2 because it was the second one to come out in the West.
Oh, no.
And they skipped Final Fantasy 5, I believe, and Final Fantasy 6 became Final Fantasy 3. And they came out with Final Fantasy 7 because nobody cared.
Okay. So by that point, they like the US just kind of went along with the
Yeah.
Japanese names.
Yeah, and before long, like, we were getting remakes of 2 and 3, so...
All right. So at this point, there's no sense in calling them what they were called in the US back then.
None whatsoever.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Well,
yeah, that's
good,
what I
at
thought.
least.
You know, just call them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. I don't like when series are just called a number, especially when they're that long. Because I think for someone who is like either a complete outsider like me, or well, I play 14, but that's it. Or I imagine for someone who's like trying to get into it for the first time, only referring to the games as numbers, I feel like that
It does
might
make it a
be-
little harder. And yeah,
makes it
unfortunately, the
harder
only
to feel,
games
yeah.
that have subtitles, really, are, like, sequels. Direct sequels.
Oh, I see.
Which are not numbered games. They are, you know, Final Fantasy X-2, Final Fantasy 13-2 Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 7 Dirge of Cerberus.
I see. Huh.
Final Fantasy 4 The After Years, Final Fantasy 4, what was the one that didn't come out between 4 and After Years? It was released, Final Fantasy 4 Interlude, that's what it was called.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just picked up the Final Fantasy 4 PSP game that has both Interlude and After Years on it. Although I haven't touched it yet.
I see. But speaking of like numbered games and series,
Yeah, Ethan, yeah, does describe it pretty well. Or pretty much they're all different franchises that are all under the Final Fantasy banner. Because even technically, like, Mana is a Final Fantasy series, kind of.
oh,
I mean, it's not
Secret
really.
of Mana?
It's a Final Fantasy series in the U.S., but not Japan.
What? Wait, that's wacky.
So yeah, just to sell more copies of the original Secret of Mana when it first came out in the U.S. The U.S. team decided to call it like Final Fantasy Adventure or something.
Oh.
Or actually, no, that probably would
So
have been Sword of Mana, and then Secret of Mana was the one that got its own actual name.
okay, yeah. Secret of Mana is the only one that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, so it's a
Um,
trilogy. There's
I'm
Sword of
familiar
Mana,
with
Secret
Secret.
of Mana, and I don't
I
know.
know there's one game called Secret of Evermore
That's
or
unrelated.
Nevermore. Is it related to Secret of Mana?
I don't think so, no.
Huh.
Let me go find the Switch game just a second.
All right.
Trials of Mana. That's what the third one's called.
That sounds a little bit familiar.
Yeah, because they
Hmm.
finally localized it in the Western markets like 2 years ago. That was a big thing back then.
Oh yeah. I think I remember hearing about it back then.
Yeah, it was
I
big like in Nintendo E3.
Right. I've seen a Let's Play of Secret of Mana,
Hmm.
and it seems like a super charming game, and it's got a great soundtrack for its time, I think.
Yeah.
I
I mean, if
think
you really
I think
want
I've
like a charming RPG, go play Mother. Like by far.
I have seen a Let's Play of that. I have seen a Let's Play of that too, as well.
Well, have you seen
I
Let's
think
Play
I've
of
seen Let's
Mother or
Plays.
Earthbound?
I think I've seen Let's Plays of all of the Earthbound
Oh,
games.
okay, cool.
Even Mother 3. But it's been a while, so I definitely have forgotten some stuff. But I remember them fondly. Although, I mean, I don't know. I never, man. I always
Like I
had some
know,
problems getting into
yeah, I do have the collection
JRPGs.
of Mana. That's why I was able to go and figure out what Trials was called. Yeah, even
Oh
if it
yeah,
kept the name Final Fantasy Adventure, I think the Japanese name was Sword of Mana.
gotcha. But yeah, I always had a little bit of a problem getting into JRPGs for some reason. Uh,
And
it's not
oh,
like I
the
don't
hell is
like the
this?
genre.
It's fucking
The hell
crab.
is what? You got crabs?
It's a giant crab.
Oh, yeah. Yup. Giant
Yeah,
crabs.
don't mind me, giant crab with frightening face.
Ah,
Yeah, I actually have a hard time getting into Western RPGs. Like anything Bethesda, I just
yeah.
yeah, like The Witcher. I mean, I guess like I kind of talked to you about this before. I'm not a huge fan of like open world in the current sense being used.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had talked about that. I I think I'm mostly a sucker for open world. But it doesn't have to be in an RPG environment, like in an RPG gameplay. Like
Ah,
I
boy, I
I
forgot I
also
had the
haven't really
slosh
gotten in.
traps.
Oh yeah, that stuff. I I also haven't gotten into. I don't know if I've gotten into any Western RPGs. I'm trying to think now if there's any that I've really gotten into, but I don't think so. And even JRPGs, I'm like, I guess Final Fantasy 14 is a JRPG, but it's more so an MMO than an RPG. I guess.
It still feels a lot
Uh,
like a JRPG.
I guess so. So I guess so. This is one game that I have been able to get into of this genre, and
Yeah, so maybe
but
then you
before
should
this,
really be getting into the 7 and beyond Final Fantasies then.
gotcha. Because
I wouldn't
before I
say
got into Final
13, but
Fantasy, hmm,
yeah, like maybe 10 or 12. 11 was also an MMO, so
I see. Before I got into Final Fantasy 14, the only JRPG that I had ever really been able to get into was Pokemon. So I don't know, and that's a bit of a thing of its own, kind of. I think.
hmm.
Hmm. Oh. But what I love about Pokemon is that you can really create your own personal team and really make it unique, kind of.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. What's another RPG that's got a large number of possible team members that you can choose between and build an army
Well,
of your choice? Oh yes, Fire Emblem.
actually, yeah, I just thought I was just about to say that. Yeah, and speaking of Fire Emblem, that's another series or that's a series that it like the games do have titles of their own, like
They
subtitles,
do.
but for some reason, a lot of the people in the fandom refer to the games by numbers, which
It's
really
just
annoys
easier.
me.
Like it's a lot
But
faster.
not for me, because it's not easier for me because I don't know which number in the order they are. I know the games by name. I don't know them by the order of the like number order.
Well, oh yeah, Ethan's got a good point. Going to Shin Megami Tensei is right for that too. It is. Shin Megami Tensei is in a lot of ways comparable to Pokemon. Even if you ignore Devil Children, which is the actual Pokemon ripoff they made.
Oh, huh. But it's not like we talk about the Zelda game as like, oh, Zelda 13. That's like Twilight Princess, I guess, maybe. But it's
No.
like we don't talk about it that way in Zelda. Why do we talk about that in Fire Emblem?
Well, it's because the titles in Zelda are a lot simpler. And would you rather say FE1 or Shadow Dragon: The Blade of Light?
uh, mm, okay, you got a point there. But man,
Where'd the boat? I guess it's probably out here somewhere. Ah, wheel. Yes. Yeah, and then
Well, I'm
like
gonna
2
kill a bunch
didn't
of
really
rats.
have a real name for
Oh.
Fire Emblem, no, just Fire Emblem Gaiden.
Oh, really?
So, like it's easy to tell the difference between FE3 and FE12 than Mystery of the Emblem and New Mystery of the Emblem.
Oh. Hmm.
I know, actually put effort into this.
Oh, there's another rat. I'm killing rats.
Excellent.